But a different approach is actually looking at a recent article from military.com where Senator Warren, right, from Massachusetts, um, wrote a letter to the VA secretary, our boy Dennis Donahue, and basically demanding answers for C&P exams. And this happened about 3-4 days ago. Let's just call it April 24th, okay? Round about that time frame. And she's asking questions about these C&P exams because, and this really gets down to the actionable side of the house, a ton of her constituents and other veterans across the nation have made enough complaints that C&P examiners are just straight up lying. I've heard some wild stories on C&P exams. I've had some bad experiences myself, but not that bad. And so it really focuses on the inadequacy of C&P exams. And then her letter also focuses on just the professionalism. The letter talks about how some C&P exams were conducted like in a hotel room in like a working closet, which is, that's not the first time I've heard that. I've heard that
Mhm.
from multiple veterans. And so looking at all
Right.
those indicators, I believe that to be true, especially now that it's coming from a senator. And she's demanding these answers to those questions from the VA by May 14th. So we will definitely be on top of that. And it really comes down to this, right? The I'm not sure how government contracting works, but being in the military, I think we all understand that the lowest bidder gets the
Yeah.
check mark, right? And so that's how I'm approaching this. We have these contracting companies. There's the big three, right? You have LHI, which changed their name to OptumServe or LLC or something weird like that. You have VES and then QTC. And there's no mechanism that I know of that holds these examiners accountable. That's the issue I think that Senator Warren is talking about, or at least veterans are talking about or complaining about, because how many higher level reviews with the duty to assist error due to a C&P examiner does there need to be like, hey, that company's not doing something right? I can't tell you how many duty to assist errors that I've seen simply on the C&P exam itself. And it begs the question of, okay, well, let's look at the C&P exam process. And it's not just the examiners, although I think it is. Okay. But
Mhm.
it could also be from the OIG report of 2022. The OIG slammed the VA on proper procedures for conducting C&P exams, meaning when you submit a claim, it goes to an adjudicator, right? So someone behind a computer looking through your records, they're finding what is there and what is not there. So the piece that is not there, they say, hey, C&P examiner, go ahead and figure that out, right? It's generally going to be the nexus and symptom severity. The issue with that is the OIG report saw that in like 68% of cases, it might be 62, right? Let's just round it and call it 65. In 65% of those cases that they sampled, the adjudicator did not send the um,
Mhm.
service records needed for the
Mhm.
nexus. You could imagine being a medical professional without evidence. How can you make the nexus? You can't. It's impossible, right? That's one issue on the VA side. The other issue is a lot of C&P examiners are combative, you know, and I'll only speak. I won't speculate here. I'll only speak from my personal experience. There's this one dude in Fairfax, Virginia. I saw him twice over about a year time frame, maybe a year and a half. I saw him twice, and he was just a curmudgeon. He did not want to listen to what I had to say. Now, my claims were service connected. It kind of gets back to exactly what you just said. All my claims with this examiner were service connected because I had evidence, one, but the symptom severities were all at 0%. Right. And I was just like, oh, well, that's
Mhm.
good, but I guess that sucks. Right.
Mhm.
And this was pre before I really understood the process. So there's a lot to uncover there, but that's the issue. And we're kind of on the edge of our seat because I'm very, very interested into the answers, right, that are supposed to be due before May 14th. And once that comes out, I'm sure Jason and I will definitely push those to you. I think it's going to be this has potential to have the biggest cause for change within the C&P exam process in itself. That
Yeah,
was a mouthful. I'm going to kick it back to you.
yeah. And here's the thing. Yes, I agree. Lowest bidder attitude, all that stuff. People just looking to make some extra cash or whatever, right? Sometimes these are small. Sometimes it's a contractor within a contractor. You know what I mean? Like a subcontractor, right? So it's that's the one that's in the hotel room just running C&P exams. So there's no incentive for them to just completely deny every single veteran running through the door, because they're going to end up getting no work, right? Eventually. So I think that yes, there are those issues. I don't know how rampant it is, right? I mean, you got to think there's 5.7 or something million veterans that are service connected. Bad news always travels faster, and you're always going to hear those, right? Like this. I've never had a C&P exam for myself that was completely just like, oh, I can't believe this was just, I feel like they were out to get me personally. Now, did I have them kind of push on my back a little bit and prod and poke? And I felt like, well, that kind of sucks because I almost fell on the ground, right? Sure. But that got me my radiculopathy because they're pushing on the nerves, right? So there is some of that has to happen. Now, they can't be, slamming down on your back as you're bent over on the back of your neck, right? Yeah, exactly. So, and I've heard those stories, and so have you. So, I don't know. I think the sad part here is that the VA has a very easy out. We did it the way that it was supposed to be. It's not us, it's them. We have, all the if you had a bad C&P exam, we give, recourse, right? We have 4 bullet points on our website on what you're supposed to do if you have a bad C&P, blah, blah, blah. And so what's going to be the resolve? What's not going to happen is we're going to give you, VA, even more money so you can do it all in-house and hire just C&P examiner physicians. Not going to happen. It's still going to be contractors, and it's not going to be like, oh, use different contractors. No, because those are the big, there's a bunch of mom and pop shops. It's going to be too labor intensive to work on one-on-one basis. So what's going to happen? We're going to work diligently. This is the VA, diligently to create a checklist of do's and don'ts to send out to all the C&P examiners and contractors, and have them sign, that they agree to this and treat our veterans fairly and lovingly, and, blow them kisses, right? That's all that's going to happen at the end of this thing. I mean, there'll be a little more something, but people are people. You're still going to have the jerky ass who is rude, right? They're not going to fire you. Were rude. Sorry, we're going to fire you. It's probably not going to happen. Because what's the other side of the story? Well, the veteran came in and he was rude or she was rude, and whatever. So I think that it really all circles back to, you need to be very, very cognizant of the words that come out of your mouth. Don't rely on the C&P examiner to read between the lines. You need to go in there and make their job to help you, even if that's not what they're looking at it as. You want them to help you, right? You need to go in there and basically give them only the information they need to get you to where you want to be. Service connected at the right percentage, right? Now, if you have a bad C&P exam, because that's what we're talking about, right? So if you have a bad C&P exam, especially given the light of the current senator's, basically inquiry with the VA, is maybe you contact, if you've had one recently, a bad one, or you have one soon, probably reach out to your senator. Let them know, right? The more people that are on board and hear it, the more that real change could potentially happen, right? whatever change that may be. But what you do need to do if you have a bad C&P exam, and I'll give you what my suggestion is, and I want to hear what you say, Clay. One, you should notify the VA that you had a crappy C&P exam, and here's why, right? If you were injured, like the range of motion stuff is notorious for having physicians or whoever push on you to get you to go that extra couple inches, right? I just got an email yesterday about a guy who went in and they pushed on him, and lo and behold, his rating was reduced. So he had like a follow-up C&P exam, right? And they pushed on him, got that extra flexation or whatever range of motion, and they reduced him. So if you have a situation in which you were injured, right? If they stretched you and you're laid out for 3 days and you can't go to work or something like that, you need to annotate that. You need to get documentation from your employer saying that you called in sick. You need to go see your regular primary doctor, get that stuff, just like you're running an insurance claim from an accident. I mean, you need to go document all of that. Utilize probably the 4138, that's the form, 4138, which is just the statement form from you as the veteran. And fill that out explaining your circumstance at your C&P exam and send that to the VA. Now, here's the thing. It might not help you in your current claim, but when it goes to the judge, if you have to appeal it, all this becomes way more relevant. You're telling a story, and you want to make sure that that story makes sense. So, that's one part of what I would do. The second part that I would do, Clay, is be prepared to file that higher level review, or I'm a fan of supplemental claim because, look, unless they actually really missed something in the file that clearly points it out, go with supplemental and just double down on the evidence that they're saying they don't have. And I would go that route.